You're listening to the Millennial Minute Podcast, giving this generation what they want to hear.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is your boy Rod, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Millennial Minute Podcast. We are finally back in the studio with some brand new energy. COVID could not keep us away. We're back. Golf clap, guys.
Golf claps, everybody.
Yay.
Hey,
We did it.
We did it, guys. We beat Corona.
Wow.
That was a Trump tweet. We beat coronavirus. It no longer exists.
There was
Aren't
a
you guys
virus?
required to wear masks?
Hey, stop snitching.
I know.
Anyway, let's go around.
Wow.
Let's go around the horn real quick and let's introduce the starting lineup for the Millennial Minute. In studio today, we got Do-Rag Daddy, aka Speaks.
Hey, what's good, everybody?
We got
Where's your do-rag though?
It's
When
in
you-
the pocket.
Show them wonder waves.
And you can check Instagram for all those. Okay, all right.
Yes.
We dipping out here.
we got the Zodiac manager, T. Chantel.
Hello there.
All the way in DC, we got the main man, Chibs.
And down.
Say what up, say what up. And then in AZ, we got Alif out there representing for the people. Say what's up, Alif.
Hey.
Hey.
So
Mhm.
for today's episode, we have a special guest joining us. But before we get to that, we'd want to give some big shout outs first. So first, we wanted to give a shout out to Productive Culture. If you're looking for production, mixing, sound design, or just looking to start your own podcast, then Productive Culture is where you need to go. They've hooked us up and helped us take our podcast to the next level. If you heard us before, we were trash, and they just leveled us up. So they can do the same for you. If you've been thinking of starting your rap career or just starting a podcast,
Or if you're
it's-
trash.
yeah, or if you're trash,
Or if you're trash.
then it's time to stop thinking about it and just do it, guys. It's
Stop being trash.
yes,
being
stop
trash.
being trash. It's just
Hashtag.
time to do it. So if you're thinking about starting it, you can hit them up. Hit up Productive Culture at productiveculture.com/podcast. They will get you hooked up. You can also find them on Instagram at Productive Culture. One more time, on Instagram at Productive Culture. Shout out to Productive Culture. Preserve, conserve, maintain, sustain, and continue.
Hey,
Thank
hey.
you, Productive
Tell
Culture.
them
for hooking-
Millennial Minute sent you.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell them we
Yes,
sent
yes,
you.
yes, yes, yes,
Get
yes.
hooked up. Second, we got to give a big shout out to 3-Bit Games.
There we go.
For those who are into video games, comic books, 3-Bit Games is the spot you need to hit up. They buy, sell, trade all games, consoles, Funko Pops. Shout out to T,
Yeah.
comics, figures, and trading cards. So if you're sitting on some Yu-Gi-Oh gems, this is where you need to go.
Gems.
It's a one-stop shop for all your gaming and collecting needs. They recently just reopened and are ready for business. You can find them at 1600 East Whole Avenue, space K24 in Pomona, California. Find them on Instagram at 3-Bit Games. One more time, that's at 3-Bit Games while Alif is giving us a sexy mom.
Yeah, I was
on
like
Zoom. Now, getting into
Oh, am I on the
our
big screen?
episode, you're on the big screen, baby. Getting into our
Oh, okay.
episode, we have a very special Juicy
Juicy.
guest who we would identify as a jack of all trades, from photography to being the captain of Story Ship, which is a community for under and misrepresented creators. And he also does work for Insan, am I pronouncing that correctly? Insan for Humanity, which is a charity that feeds and helps homeless seniors and children in the LA area.
This man's got a big heart.
Yes,
This-
huge heart,
This man's
Huge
doing
heart.
things.
even bigger goals to help the community. He's very outspoken on Twitter and
Tweets hot fire.
tweets hot fire. So we're very excited to have him here. Introducing Nael Hafeez.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
Man,
What's up,
it's good to
man?
see you guys. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see
Good
you
to see
too.
you too, my guy.
Good to see you
Mhm.
too. For those who don't know, we went to high school with Nael. We've been keeping up with him. He's been dropping some hot fire, and he's been a real pillar of the community.
You
And
guys are
he-
too kind, man.
He represents. He represents. So we're
reps.
very glad to have him on. So for
Happy
today's
to be here.
yeah, we appreciate you being here. For today's podcast, T, whip out that minute since we've been gone.
Bam.
So for today's podcast, we're gonna discuss a little bit of the virtual signaling going on in Hollywood, the NFL, people kind of going around these acts and canceling names. We stopped calling the master bathroom and bedroom master.
Yeah.
We've completely got rid of it, and now racism is solved.
Yeah.
The
So
master no
Oh.
longer exists.
the
Yeah,
master no
now
longer
it's just
exists.
called a bedroom.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
So we're going to touch a little bit on the virtue signaling, the clown activity that we've been seeing in Hollywood, as well as the role and responsibility that the media has in controlling, these protests. We're going to go deeper into that. But
Yes.
for the minute, we're going to talk about this clown activity. Do we think that it helps the cause of what these people are protesting and fighting for, or is
Well-
it? Is it
Well, before we,
Well-
what's the definition of that?
Uh-oh.
What's the
You want me
definition
to
of what?
define what clown
Yeah.
activity is?
Yeah, for the people, for
Yes.
our
For the
audience.
people. All right. So
For the
clown
audience.
yeah, for the audience. So clown activity, it's not direct racism, right? It's like microaggressions, really. It's like when and a lot of virtue signaling. So like, people are painting Black Lives Matter on the street when they're asking for Black Lives to Matter in policy, things like that. People are trying to assuage their guilt over their their
Wrongdoings.
their wrongdoings, their complicity in it by just giving these kind of things, like stop calling the master bedroom, or etc.
The NFL playing the Black national anthem instead of apologizing to Kaepernick.
But that's on a greater level, right?
Yeah.
People are also doing it on personal levels where they're like exposing themselves by like trying to like show how much they've changed, but really they haven't changed at all.
Absolutely not.
We just want people to take action and not really talk. Just take action. That's the real apology here.
Yep.
Yes.
Take action. Move out
And
of
if you
Arizona.
can afford it, large monetary apology.
We love to hear it. We love to hear
How
it.
about you just
Now-
shut up and open your wallet?
Now,
Yeah.
do you
Open
guys?
your wallet,
well,
celebs.
I guess we'll talk
That's
about
that's how I'm rebranding reparations. We're calling
Yes.
it large monetary apology.
Venmo
mean-
a black guy. Do that immediately. Venmo your local black
in a
guy.
roundabout way, that's clown activity. When these guys are just exposing themselves by doing platitudes, right, but not really taking actions. They're not really, checking in on their black coworkers. Like, hey, are we doing enough to, support your work environment and things like that?
Yeah.
All right.
But they'll go off and make a video on how much they love black people.
Yeah.
Yes, and how all of their friends are black.
We need to change
They're-
white celebrities. Okay,
Alright.
so we'll start off with we can start up in the studio. We'll go to Speaks, we'll go to T, then we can go to Chibs, Alif, and then Nael, and then we'll end it with me if we have enough time for the minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm here to get educated.
All right. So
So
I don't know much
redefine
about this topic.
the
Well, I
question again. So we
kinda
kind
have
of
an
went
idea.
into a huge spiel
Not
before that.
not as well versed.
yeah. So just for the minute, the question for the minute is just gonna be if we agree or disagree with the virtue signaling
Gotcha.
and clown activity. Okay.
Gotcha.
So starting.
Does virtue signaling help or hurt?
Yes.
There
There
yes.
you go.
Okay.
Oh, look at it. First day, he takes control of his entire pod. Look at this guy.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
That's his topic, man.
All right.
All
Three
right.
in. Well,
Oh,
here,
I'm
take
like,
a seat.
excuse
Sorry.
me.
bad, my bad.
Wow.
The audacity.
That was sexist of me.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
It was.
Wow.
Anyways, I will be controlling
Hey,
the
do the thing.
minute.
I will be controlling the minute.
I apologize. I apologize, America.
I expect a large monetary apology.
Large monetary sum
Run
directly
that
to T
money, run that
for the
Venmo.
sexism.
All right, ready and take it away, Speaks.
I think that the virtual signaling is both a dual-edged sword. I think in some aspects it does help, in other aspects it definitely does not help.
Okay, T.
I agree. I like that it's being talked about, but there needs to be more action, like we mentioned.
Chibs.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, but more needs to be done, and I feel like there needs to be less like back patting, saying we've done it.
Yeah.
There needs to be like more than just that.
Okay. Alif.
I'm kind of with Brian. Like, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like I agree because I can see how it can create awareness, but it could also backfire because it doesn't help. It may not help with policy.
Yeah. Okay. Now.
Yeah, I kind of take that position
Oh,
where
That was
bringing light to an issue is important, but the way it's being done, like too much information and using information poorly can be a bad thing.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
And that
3,
was time.
2, 1. Chibs.
Wait, no, what the heck? We're just.
Mr.
It was a
Johnson,
minute.
you
I
missed
know, but we gotta
your
we gotta at
opinion.
least get Rod.
It
too.
was a minute.
It
I
was
mean,
a minute. Those are the rules.
True.
those are the rules.
I'm
We're not
sorry,
going.
guys.
We're not going to win for the rules. Now you're kicked off. You're the
It's
weakest
my fault.
link,
You guys
bro.
can lay the blame on me.
Yeah.
I have to make a
All of
large
it.
monetary apology.
Yeah.
So Rod cannot speak the rest of the podcast.
Oh my
To the
god.
podcast.
Now I'm gonna go on a rant for 40 minutes, guys. This is my reparations. So, we can get directly into it. Because Niall just kind of explained it. I mean, now if you want to just kind of dive more into the idea of large monetary sums, do you think that that's the only way that these celebrities, big companies, corporations should push this change forward? Because Chibs, Speaks, T, they all said that it's good in bringing awareness, but it's also, that double-edged sword. So is there more solutions other than that large monetary sum for people to get involved or large corporations?
Yeah, I mean, it's taking direct action, right? Like, so if you just Google like some of these companies, like NFL scandal
Mhm.
and racism, right? Those 3 words, you get articles and articles and articles and articles,
Mhm.
right? Like it's endless. And other companies that are doing the same thing, right? If like you Google their name and you Google scandal,
Mhm.
you get the whole entire list. So in those years since then and now, since those scandals occurred and now, what have those companies done to really take action to show that, hey, we are for, fighting for Black lives, fighting for, gender equality and whatnot, right? Like, have they actually taken action since then? And you can see, right? It's you can see which companies are taking action and which companies are not. So it doesn't have to be just the monetary apology. It can be how they respond to their workers, how they responded after these accusations and scandals and things like that.
Mhm. Okay. So
I just want to piggyback off that real quick. When you say some companies do and don't, I feel like a good example of companies that do is Ben and Jerry's. I think there are some like higher ups that are like literally directly involved, like on the front lines.
yeah.
I mean, they were never involved in the scandal, as far as I'm aware. They were always kind of like woke. But I'm just saying, like, they put their money where their mouth is, and they're like out there getting arrested. Like, so Ben and Jerry's, you can buy their ice cream.
Ben and Jerry's,
Jerry's are for the people.
will definitely be sponsoring this pod somehow.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Sponsor the pod, Ben and Jerry's.
So they
We
need
ride
to.
for y'all.
We do.
So what would you say to the people who are in Hollywood? Because there's been this huge trend, I don't know if you guys have been seeing on Twitter, where it's like, I feel bad that I voiced a Black actor, or I feel bad that I voiced an Asian actor, and I am white, therefore I am no longer
Oh.
voicing this, and I won't be working with people who are casting me in roles that aren't fit for me. So I know that's kind of been a thing, but
Yes.
do you think that that's progressive, or do you think that's kind of BS?
So I think that once again, like I said in the minute, it's a double-edged sword. What that does is just kind of highlight what's going on and what people are trying to do. However, I feel as though that's also kind of like pandering or like kind of making light of it, because it's like we're not asking for this character that we've known for X amount of years to switch the voice up
Mm-hmm.
to be better represented by the person that it is.
Mm-hmm.
We need policy change. I want real life, not fake life.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need for that to be seen in my real life, not just on a screen, however big it is that I'm watching the show.
But I think it's still progress, though.
I think it's I think
And
It's
maybe
something.
do it for a future show that you're put together.
Yeah.
Why do you need to do it for this one?
yeah, exactly.
Like for The Simpsons, who they
Yeah.
had someone do like a voice for 20 some odd years.
yeah,
It
exactly.
seems odd.
Yeah.
Pooh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
same thing with Family Guy, the dude who voices
Cleveland.
what's his name?
Cleveland, the black
No,
guy?
the only black guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally,
Yeah, the only black guy you didn't know
literally
his
gave
name.
my man a spinoff.
Yes.
Okay?
You're canceled,
Yeah,
Alif.
I'm like, the dude's been playing Cleveland, voicing I think he's white, Caucasian dude. He's been voicing Cleveland for like 20 years, and all of a sudden he just quits because like, oh, I don't feel like I deserve this role. Like, dude, you come to this realization that 20 years after playing this role.
Yeah.
Like,
But wasn't
really?
that kind of the thing with Cleveland as a character, that he was kind of like the whitewashed black guy in a sense?
That's a whole nother
who
that's
he
a
was-
whole nother topic.
Yeah,
for
because I
another
mean, you're
podcast,
getting
bro.
into something else.
Yeah,
there, but that was
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like what he was meant to
I
be.
mean, we could have another conversation on like characters and like
Mhm.
Yeah,
know.
that yeah. But as far as that, I almost like I don't want to just say like that's not progress because I don't think I'm gonna say it. I'll take what I can get. Like like any small margin, whether we're moving a full 10 inches forward or like 1 millimeter forward, I think that's like a millimeter forward.
Yeah.
Compared to the whole grand scheme of things. So
Yeah.
I'll take it, but that's not all I'm gonna be taking.
No, of course, but I feel like at least it's bringing more attention to the topic.
Which is why it's like, yes, it helps, but like I said, like to people that are doing that, the next to somebody that's screaming to the Karen that is screaming all lives matter, her thing is going to be, well, why does it matter if the guy is white, black, or white? He's black in the show, so I don't think, and I think that's just going to be more triggering for people.
Yeah,
like rather than actually like getting, because all we really want is policy changes. Like I don't think that's like. We all know what's happening, and I think this generation is slowly starting to wake up and realize like, oh shit, we have not done as much as we thought we have. We haven't come as far as long as we did have. Obama really wasn't that much of a progress in the grand scheme of things.
One thing I will say, just to kind of touch on it, is that I think we're kind of going into the slippery slope when we start having these conversations, only because you have people on the other side of the conversation that are going to deem these changes to be ridiculous, therefore just disregard the whole movement as ridiculous, right? So when you see the Dixie Chicks changing their names to just the Chicks, what black person on earth has a Dixie Chicks album that they're listening to? I could care less about the Dixie Chicks and what they're repping. But some Southerner that's a big fan of the Dixie Chicks is going to automatically assume, well, Black Lives Don't Matter. They changed the Dixie Chicks to the Chicks, and this is ridiculous, and blah, 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 blah. And then they're taking off Jemima off the shelves, and they're taking Uncle Ben, and this and that. And it's easy for them to start diminishing the bigger conversation that we're trying to have, which is like, hey, we just want, like Speaks was saying, policy reform. We want real change. We want resources to be put back into the black community.
Yes.
But then the response is always going to be, no, you don't. You just want to change characters from white to black. And you see how those things.
The thing is, those changes aren't even being made by people who are part of the movement, right? Like,
thank you.
It's being made by.
It's so that
like corporations and stuff. They're trying to commodify. Black lives.
Yeah, they're just trying to basically just get some free publicity.
They're putting a kente cloth over the issue.
Oh my god!
they're just putting a kente cloth over the
Listen
over the
to
issue.
me, brother.
Yeah, listen to me.
Why are you running?
Why are you running?
Why are you running?
Yo. Okay.
Yo, but this kind of reminds me of like a quote I've been seeing by Malcolm X. Pretty much he says, the white man will try to satisfy us with symbolic victories rather than economic equity and justice.
Yes. I'm glad you put your Hotep hat on.
You guys can't see it, but I got the book right there.
Hey.
Oh,
yes.
you're getting prepared. No,
Yes.
Welcome, brother.
Yes.
Welcome, brother.
Niall's third eye is open for this podcast. We'd love to see it. So open up that third eye.
We need to get him a kente hat and laser eye.
Yes. Hotep chip activated.
Yeah. Fucking dashiki.
Yes.
Yeah.
So really,
but I was just saying that how like a lot of these are just like symbolic, right? Because this isn't the first time when black people have been angry, and this is not the first time when white people say like, "Boy, here, you've done something. Now shut up."
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
I mean,
and that's what
I mean. Like for instance, like I really think the latest one about like Martin Luther King Day, or like when everyone changed all of their like roads, like Malcolm X Boulevard or like Martin Luther King Street in every hood, thinking like that's it, we solved discrimination.
Black kids were gonna see the sign.
An official holiday.
Yeah,
exactly.
Give me reparations. I don't want Juneteenth.
It was also kind of seemed like we did something. So like, why are y'all still mad? But I feel like now isn't the time to like to take the foot off the gas. And I feel like that's what we always do, thinking like, oh, look at the white guy, they did something to help. But like, now I think the difference now is that we realize the mistakes from the past. To like, yeah, they did that before. This isn't gonna work this time.
No.
But what do you guys think about removing street names and statues that are made
that's a
Confederate
whole
girls.
that's a whole nother.
So if you buy a new car,
Because that's policy right there.
So if you buy a new car and it comes either it doesn't come with Bluetooth or it does come with Bluetooth, that's basically what that is to me. You're not changing the car. You're not changing policy reform, which would be something that's like actually visible. You're just kind of putting like a little ornament on something. Like
But
Well,
aren't
on
statues and street names a form of policy because those
Well,
are made by lawmakers?
well, really quick,
right?
because I mean, I think if we start talking about statues, we're gonna get on a completely
different topic.
different topic and
Yeah,
different
true,
tangent.
true.
Because
Yeah.
I think that's like a conversation about methods of protesting.
Yes.
and-
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
symbology and things like that.
Yeah.
Mhm,
But
yeah.
I
So-
don't yeah, go.
Oh, really? Really quick. Just shift gears. I didn't mean to cut Speaks off, but I did want to touch on something that Nael was well versed in and has been talking a lot about on Twitter. One of his threads, went, I would say viral. That would be the word that I would use. Talking
Micro
about
viral.
mic-
Like within the niche of photography.
Yeah. Okay. Micro viral, but
Okay.
viral within the niche of photography. But
Okay.
micro viral in terms of Twitter, he didn't have like a Hotep laser eye meme. If you
Okay.
put the Hotep laser eye meme on it, that would have went viral for sure. Basic-
Next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Next
run
time.
it by you.
All right. Millennial Minute LLC created. We got you. So you were really talking about the role and responsibility of the media and photographers when covering protests and protecting people's identities and how that could lead to just harm to those people that are there protesting and sharing their voice. So if you wanted to touch a little bit on that and just to inform people, because a lot of people don't know
Yeah.
about this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, happily. So I didn't learn this on my own. Shout out to Twitter University.
Hey, shout out.
But basically,
Twitter you.
Twitter you, man.
TU, turn up.
TU.
Save your life.
That's
But-
TU is Trump you. We're not going to Trump
Oh.
you. Twitter you.
Oh, TU is what?
But
Trump had his-
so
Oh.
my thread, just to summarize, was about what to do as a photographer when you're attending a direct action like a protest or something, right? Especially during these times. Given that, if you look back to what happened to protesters in Ferguson, there's a lot of people who are very visible in some of these protest photos, right? And you later find out that they were attacked, some were even killed under mysterious circumstances. Like there's articles, right? I'm not gonna like find the links right now, but there's articles on this. And then even just now, the protests that were happening just a few weeks ago, right? There's people who are being harassed right now through their photography, through people finding them through photography, not just law enforcement, right? There's like if you go on Trump's Twitter from a few days ago, he was posting photos of protesters, of people who were, I think, taking down statues and stuff. And he was saying, hey, find this person, find this person, find this person. Like literally telling people to go out there and like attack or whatever, like inciting harm against these people. So like when it comes to like photographers or storytellers who are in these spaces, like it's really important to consider our role. Like, why are we there? Who are we representing?
That's
Mhm.
true.
Yeah, no, that is true. That was something that I didn't even really think about.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't either.
no.
You would see these almost photos and videos that they look super dope and like aesthetic and it had everyone's face, and a
Mhm.
month later you'd find out that they were mysteriously killed in a car accident and you were like, oh,
What the
how
I didn't
did
even know this was,
Yeah,
like,
there's some like
happening.
sketch stuff in Ferguson.
yeah.
That's really scary.
Yeah.
The most recent one I'd found out about was in the Charleston, North Carolina protests where they had the alt-right and then you had Antifa, Black Lives Matter there meet up. There was a video clip of a man from the alt-right that had a Confederate flag, and some dude that was on the other side jumped over like this fence and like grabbed the
Oh,
Confederate
yeah.
flag and like sprinted away. And a couple months later, he was like found dead.
I don't understand what, like, people are so fucked up. Like, why kill someone over
Because
something
people,
like?
because
Do you know what I
we
mean? Like,
because
it's so
we have
fucked
people
up.
that don't, the radicals that don't believe in this protest and are very sensitive to their
No, of course, but I'm just saying,
I'm
like,
just
as a human, like, it's
Mhm.
just so fucked up. Do you know what I mean?
We're
Yeah.
we're definitely invading their safe space.
yeah, definitely.
So now, how do you think that the media, if you had to give them a grade, I know these things are kind of hard
Yeah.
to really put into just that short context, but if you had to give the media grade, right wing, left wing, in the middle, how would you think that they were covering these protests? You had gone to a couple of protests, just in the local area that we're in. Do you think that the protesters were being represented fairly compared to what we were seeing on Twitter? Do you think that we were just kind of seeing a lot of BS?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like for the larger media like conglomerates that are out there, right? They kind of they're just trying to sell their story, right?
Mhm.
Make a buck. So like with CNN, any or anyone who's like more left leaning, right? They're still trying to sell whatever news they can,
Mhm.
right? There's and on the flip side, on the right side, right? They're pushing the story of like looters and this and that, using fear tactics to sell their story. So on the media's end, they're like you guys saw like on Twitter, you guys talked about it in previous episode,
Mhm.
where like you see what's actually happening on Twitter, and then you go on the news and like you don't see any of that. And then if you talk to like your parents or something, they're like, no, what are you talking about? And you have to like
Mhm.
sit down with them and show them
Yeah,
off
what's
of Twitter
actually
like what's
yeah,
actually
like what's
happening.
That's facts.
Right? They don't like have the truth. And even though like they're you would consider your parents informed people,
hmm
right?
Yeah.
That they're not informed. So
It's
like
for
the
sure.
media has done a very poor job. Even like the liberal media, quote
Mhm.
unquote, has
Mhm.
done a very poor job of keeping people informed. So that's why like I feel like it's important to activate like your homegrown photographer, right?
Mhm.
Your local photographers, your local videographers to go out there and cover it for the people, but
Mhm.
do it for the right reasons.
Yeah. And how do you, I mean, how would you check people, or not necessarily check, but how would you correct people at these protests if you saw them committing or doing
Chasing
some,
clout.
yeah, chasing clout or doing something? Because you also saw that there was this Instagram, I believe it's called like Influencers in the Wild,
okay.
where they would
Oh,
they were exposing people who would like take someone's sign and like pose for a picture, and
yeah.
then they would just give
Yeah.
it back and like go home.
Well, like how
Yeah,
There
yeah,
was
yeah.
so many videos. There's like a
Yeah.
lady who like got out of her car to like pretend like she's boarding up windows.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That one was
What?
so bad.
Well, you know,
Yeah, she was
Madison
going around to like
Beer-
different places, like pretending she's
Yeah.
helping like people board up.
Yeah, and it turns out she was actually like a big higher up, like in some company. She got exposed and like fired
Yeah.
shortly
Oh,
after.
shit.
I
Yeah.
love my new favorite music has been seeing these racists and these higher ups get exposed via Twitter.
Mhm.
The link will be posted 18 hours ago about this,
Mhm.
and then like 24 hours later we found out their name, their address,
Yeah, it's
what company
crazy.
they're part of,
Yeah.
and they start losing
How much they make a
Yeah.
year?
Yeah, exactly. Somehow Twitter finds everything.
like
I
like
know.
bruh,
This is their childhood trauma.
everything
Go
is
after them.
public.
I love we love to see it. We love to see it on the timeline.
That we do. That could
Wait.
also be the dangerous side of doxing as well, right? Because
Yeah.
you have one side of doxing where it's like, oh, let's expose these racists. Oh shit, she worked at JP Morgan. She was this, she was that. And you're realizing that there's this trickle down effect that you
Mhm.
have, these racists that are in these high positions, and you're like, maybe that's why black people aren't getting hired, or maybe that's why you're having all these
100%.
issues.
Yep.
And then you have the other side of it, like Niall was touching on, where you have these clout chasing photographers, clout chasing influencers
Yeah.
that are out here getting protesters caught up and put in harm's way just because they want to be out there chasing clout and
trying to get the shot to make them go viral within the
yes.
space.
Yeah, the big thing is if you as a storyteller, you're not the story. Right.
That's
And
true.
especially
That's a
especially
quote.
when
That's
you're
a quote.
like you're not a black photographer, especially, right? Like I'm not a black photographer. So I
Mhm.
especially have to check myself. Like, why am I there?
Yeah.
Right. Why am I covering this? Whose story am I telling?
Mhm.
You know, what's my purpose of being there?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. You don't want to be out there with a selfie stick.
Cloud is dangerous nowadays, dude.
It is. It's
Well,
it's
they
another
just people
disease.
saw it as an opportunity for sure. Like I was gonna say, Madison Beer hired a paparazzi to like meet her at the protest so she could take
Oh,
pictures.
that's so
Yeah.
gross.
it's crazy.
Yeah, it seems like
Yeah.
some people are out there like trying to take pictures for the gram as if they're taking
Yeah.
Mhm.
pictures for food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you're a foodie and shit. Like, oh my god, check this out,
Yeah,
guys.
check out this social unrest, guys.
it was
Like it's an aesthetic or something.
Yeah,
Check out my
like-
YouTube,
Crazy.
bro.
Subscribe, follow the link.
What do you guys? So then, what do you guys feel like when you guys are seeing? Because like, I mean, we might be getting to a little bit of a different topic, but the
Mhm.
whole J. Cole and No Name
Oh,
beef
that-
that
Oh, I
happened.
just talked about
Yeah.
that last night with some friends.
Yeah,
Touch on that.
Wait,
yeah,
what?
go-
Yeah,
yeah,
someone
I don't
explain.
know.
Nael,
about
you,
it.
you,
you go ahead.
no. It's just like
introduce the topic.
no. It was just basically like No Name, who's this person who's kind of quote unquote a big avid activist for like Black Lives Matter, very well versed, very well, and she was kind of calling out specific people.
As of last year, because
Mhm.
she just within the last year
Yeah.
she's been reading up on a lot of
Yeah,
things.
exactly. And J. Cole recently released a song called Snow in the Bluff and
Mhm.
didn't talk directly, like, didn't mention her by name, but was basically kind of saying, like, oh, well, you guys put me on this pedestal. And, you know, as if people have been listening to J. Cole, you would probably describe him as the woke one.
Mhm.
You know, the one that pays attention, the one that's very knowledgeable about Black lives and everything else like that. Recent verses that I can think about where he talked about how he had a conversation with Obama about, you know,
Mhm.
seeing all these people in oppression. Anyways, that's how he comes off. But then in this song, he's talking about how he's not really like that. He's just somebody that can rap really, really well. And
Mhm.
that's what he is. And don't be putting me on this pedestal type thing. And she kind of,
Oh,
you get,
I get what you're saying.
so-
I listen to both songs.
so it wasn't, so
Did you follow that, Rod? What, like the whole drama that happened with that?
I did. I
Yeah.
did. I followed it. You know what? I think that No Name's track really put J. Cole in his place.
mhm.
I think that I like J. Cole's song, and
Mhm.
I understood the message that he was going for. And I
Mhm.
understood that there are a lot of people in the community that aren't as well versed and as educated as No Name about these topics.
Mhm.
But J. Cole is not the one who isn't that
Yeah.
well versed.
J. Cole, like literally days before she like supposedly called him out, right?
Mhm.
Like he was like there's photos of him coming out being
Yeah.
at protests and
So,
stuff.
Mhm.
what do you guys feel as though? Do you think it's enough to see the celebrity? Do you feel like celebrities are doing enough by just kind of showing that they're there, or they're not doing enough at all? In
I don't
general?
think black celebrities are
Why do
doing
we
enough.
expect celebrities to do anything?
Did you guys
Okay,
see
hold
the
on, wait,
Dave
I like
Chappelle,
that. I like
special?
that. I like that. I like
Yes.
that.
8:46.
Yeah, Alif, let's go
Yeah.
back
Or
to
minute
what
46,
Alif
yeah.
said.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let that one slide. Leaf,
Let's
repeat
go
what
back
you
to
said.
what Alif said.
What you said?
Why do we expect celebrities to do anything in terms of bringing
They're
policy change and stuff like that?
Because
Like,
those.
yeah, they have
I
a
think this one. I mean,
they have a
because I
like
feel
it's like what I'm saying is that it's almost as if we're putting all this on their shoulders. I'm just asking a question.
Yeah,
No,
no, it's a
no,
good
no,
question.
No.
Let Chips
for
talk.
me, the way I see it, what's up?
No, I said
Go
go off,
off,
Chips.
King.
It's not so much that we expect them to make the change, is that they just have the largest platform. So if we have a message that we can give to them, that message that we have will reach the most people. So it's kind of like, so when we say like like my little Instagram account only has like a few hundred people, you know. But if I were to told Kim Kardashian, hey, Black Lives Matter, that would reach 50 million people,
Yeah.
you know, saying that. So
Yeah.
it's not so much I'm expecting her like, okay, Kim, like solve racism. No, but the message to change like opinions can be furthest reached through celebrities because they have the largest platform or the biggest megaphone
Yes.
to
And
get their message across.
and to jump on top of what Chiv said, and kind of like what Niall said, bringing up Dave Chappelle's special. Dave Chappelle and other black celebrities that have talked about this topic, like Dave Chappelle, he was saying, like, I've been talking about this for years. Like, this isn't the time for me to jump back in and be like, I told you so. I've been talking about this in my comedy since like the 90s. But you also see, to me, the thing that disturbs me is when you see black celebrities who haven't talked on anything sit back and be like, oh, well, I'm just going to let y'all handle this.
Yeah,
one."
because
It's like, no, you're just as part of this.
you're just as big a part of the person that is also racist by not doing anything.
I think
Or being like Terry Crews.
Oh, my
I
God.
don't want to even talk. No,
He's still in character from White Chicks.
Yeah, dude.
Didn't you know this was
Wait,
an
what'd he do?
all-white
Oh,
party?
yeah. Actually, I've missed this one. Might need to catch me up.
Oh,
Yeah, I missed it too.
Let me just pull up the tweet.
Yeah,
Let me,
just- you-
oh,
Okay.
You
well,
can-
while you're doing that, I
Yes,
just want
go
to
off,
say
T.
that I think as celebrities or people who have a large audience following them, I think that they should acknowledge that they have influence. And like Chibs was saying, that it's a platform for them to reach a huge audience. So I think it's almost like this unsaid thing where they should use their influence, you know, especially because they know that they can reach so many people.
Mm-hmm.
To,
The same way that
to go back to Alif's kind of
Yeah.
circle it back, we do give too much power to celebrities, right? There's
Facts.
too much celebrity worship that happens in our society.
True.
But we do, and
True.
that's why they have
Right.
influence.
That's why they have it, right?
And that's why I was asking the question, like, because we give a lot of power to celebrities.
I mean, yeah.
Now, I understand your
Oh yeah. No, I'm just saying.
your perspective speaks like
Mhm.
like yeah, and Chibs, like they do have a platform. Like I know that, but it kind of goes like both ways almost, because we sometimes inadvertently give celebrities too much power.
We do for sure. And talking on Terry Crews, Chibs, just to fill you in, he had he had a tweet, and it said, "If you are a child of God, you are my brother and sister. I have a family of every race, creed, and ideology. We must ensure Black Lives Matter doesn't morph into Black Lives Better." So,
What?
in itself,
Yeah.
and I think that a lot of people that were upset at Terry Crews were just more upset that he was missing the whole point as to why people were saying Black Lives Matter. It's like, we never said that they were better, but then now you're trying to make it a conversation where we're trying to make it seem like we're better, and like we're not being allowed to like speak on something that is important to us. T?
I feel like this is just some celebrities or people that have a big influence, they live in a different world, you know, compared to normal people. So because I'm confused by that, you know, but it's like I live in the normal world versus they live in their own bubble.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a perfect example was like I was mad at him for a cool minute, Lil Wayne, when he was like,
Yeah, Lil
when
Wayne.
he was
and,
like,
what's his face?
racism, where I've never experienced racism.
Yeah, it's like,
and it's just like,
with Lil Wayne, one of my friends gave me some insight, right? When he was I think when he was shot or something, right? There was like a white police officer.
He tried to,
saved his life.
white police officer saved his life. He was the only one that was like, because all the other officers, I guess, came in and they disregarded Lil Wayne that had like already, I forget what kind of gun he used, but he had just bullet holes in him basically. And the only like white cop came in, or not only white cop, but one of the white cops came in. It's like, nobody sees this kid with a hole in his chest and da. So he was the only one that like actually rushed him to the hospital, got him proper care. And he's like, I can't sit here and just be like, well, all cops are bad, or you know, only white cops are bad when a white cop saved my life. And it's like,
yeah, it's hard to like.
It's like, dude, you can't be like celebrities. It's this point where you guys are talking about how like we give celebrities too much power, because that's a simple instance where it's like somebody can't seem to read.
It's just not black and white.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of nuance. And I do feel like everyone has their own personal experience with law enforcement. Some, I feel like we've heard a lot of negative ones, but of course there is a lot of positive ones as well. But the way I see it is just that, like, if a system is causing harm, we have to address it as a whole. You can't just take your one experience and think like, well, just because that happened, that must mean everybody else was great too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we understand that was great for you, but you have to see that it's also hurting a lot more people.
T, you had something to say?
I kind of forgot, but I agree. I feel like, sure, like not everybody's bad. Not every white person is racist, but there are bad cops, there are white racist people, and it's important to address that and not just cover it up by saying, well, I've never experienced that. It's like, well, just because you haven't doesn't mean that other people, you know.
Do you guys feel that we've kind of entered into this new era where our arguments are all about like whataboutism? Have you guys ever heard of that term, whataboutism?
No.
It's basically
I
like,
want to tell it to the audience.
Yeah. So
but what about black and black crime?
There you go.
Wait,
so basically, whataboutism is when you bring up George Floyd.
What about black and black crime?
There you go. What about it? Or George Floyd was killed by the police. We need police reform. Well, what about black on black crime? You don't care about that? And it's like, well, we're not really talking about that. We're talking about police reform.
I can't stand that.
I think the biggest thing now that we're facing, whether you're conservative or liberal or whatever, is just a lack of empathy to really understand these situations.
Saw
And
you tweet that.
yeah, because that's really all we're missing. It doesn't take much to really understand. Hey, George Floyd didn't have to be murdered. You have Candace Owens. Oh well, he was on drugs. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, a lot of
He
people
was-
do drugs. Doesn't
yeah.
mean they should die.
What the
Exactly.
hell?
Exactly.
Do
Like
you know
that.
what I mean?
But
Like,
that doesn't justify.
You know the thing with Elijah McClain, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody's making him like, oh, he was such a sweet boy, and like
Mhm.
this and that. Like that's a given. But
Mhm.
like no one, even if a guy was a thug, he
Yeah.
should not be murdered
Of
by
course.
people who've sworn to protect.
Yeah. And the thing that we often forget with police officers is that we enter this social contract with police officers a lot of the time where we're saying, hey, a certain percent of money's coming out of our taxes, our paychecks, and it's going to the
You.
police.
You.
And you have to serve and protect us. And if you are not serving and protecting us, you therefore void that contract that me and you have this understanding. You serve and protect, you keep getting this money. And then now the police are voiding that contract. You see that there's a lot of unrest. You see that people are protesting. You see that people are rioting. And it's one thing to look at the situation without empathy and to say, oh, well, there's just looters, there's just rioters. And that's a lot of, unfortunately, the way that a lot of our parents think sometimes, just because of, what they're viewing, just
Consuming in the media.
Exactly. But they're not viewing it as, no, this contract was breached.
Yeah.
They said that they would protect these people. Whoops. Looks like we have had some technical difficulties. We got shut off by the government. We're getting too real.
Oh,
Too real.
Too real in here.
they knew. We got this.
Y'all can't see me?
And we're back.
Okay,
Oh,
all right,
that
and we're
was-
back.
that
We're
was
back.
a quick
Okay, sorry, we
comeback.
had
We're back.
some quick technical difficulties. The CIA said y'all are getting too woke.
Yes.
We gotta
Yes.
we gotta shut off this
Like our
podcast.
conspiracy
For
one.
the second time.
Yes.
Yeah, for a second time.
So
So yeah, do you guys think that there's a lack of empathy going on right now just in the US as people?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Bro, you see that with like the whole thing that
COVID.
people don't want to wear masks.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Corona,
COVID.
right? Like
COVID is the
it's
perfect
the
example.
same thing. People are
Mhm.
not being empathetic to others, so they don't want to wear masks. They don't care if they're going outside.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah, with
Uh-oh.
the masks. Yeah, but I was like talking to some folks. It's more like they believe it as an infringement on their own rights.
And
But
what do you think
Devil's
about that?
law.
Wait, what do you think about that,
Ooh,
Alif?
no, hold
Go,
on.
Chips.
I
Go
have
off,
I have
Chips.
something about this. So pretty much, when I think it's on Twitter or someone told me, I forget, but they said I don't want to wear a mask because it's my body, my right.
Oh
Don't you
my
think that that's kind of
gosh.
ironic? My body, my choice, but yet
Yes.
people are like,
Yes.
what ab-
Abortion.
what about
yeah.
what about safe abortions? No,
Exactly.
No
All of a
way,
sudden,
Jose.
Yeah.
you
Dude,
can't have that.
It's so like I feel like white people. Well, okay.
well,
Let's
Bring it
not.
back,
yeah,
we'll
yeah,
allow
yeah.
you to-
Bring it back.
Let's
take it easy,
Bring it
Malcolm
back.
X.
let's go. I feel like a lot of people want to act as if they are oppressed when they are really truly not oppressed in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I think actually it's funny that you did say Malcolm X, because I think there is a quote around that where it's like a person will feel oppressed, right? A person who is privileged will feel oppressed when the people who are oppressed gain a little bit of privilege.
Yes.
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 Oh.
That
Yes.
is true.
Right, so they'll
My
feel like
God,
they're losing their privilege.
the
So I think
third eye.
Your
I think
third
that
eye
is
is
a Malcolm
beaming
X
right
quote.
now.
That third eye is just
Something
beaming
around
right
those
now.
lines.
Shining bright.
The lasers are shooting out of the camera right now. But we saw this maybe it was more than 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, when a lot of UCs were accepting more Black and Latino students into schools.
As policy, yeah.
Yeah,
they
as
changed
policy. And then you remember that like a lot of people were in uproar about that.
Oh, I remember
And-
that.
and-
And then there, you know what it was? There was this conservative group that started funding lawsuits
Mhm.
Oh my god.
through Asians
I remember
against
that. Yeah.
against affirmative action.
Oh my God.
Wait.
Yeah. That's so crazy.
Wait.
Say that again now.
Yeah,
Say that
because-
Bro,
again for
we're
the
going like
people.
off topic,
Well,
but
we are.
No,
we
no,
are.
no.
yeah,
But it's fine.
So
It encompasses.
this
Yes.
conservative group started funding cases to fight affirmative action,
Mhm.
right? Specifically in California with the policy changes, right?
Mhm.
Because somehow they had convinced Asian parents that like, oh, affirmative action hurts your kids' chances of getting into school because your kids are so smart and like
Yeah.
these black and brown kids are taking their spots.
Oh my.
Walnut High School has entered the chat. Chips is getting into school and not my kid. I'm outraged.
Yeah, no,
Asians against
yeah.
affirmative action. Wow, it's funny.
But
No,
yeah,
bro, I think that's what it was called.
Oh my.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
it's we're
A.
Quadruple A.
In other words,
Hey, take it easy, buddy. But Speaks, what were you gonna say?
No, I think it's just we're getting to a point where I think we're actually going to start. I don't want to jinx it, but I think that they're trying so hard to suppress how many protests are still going on, how active people are still being, and I swear to God, if they do anything with like, I don't want to just say Twitter like it's the only form of media, but I do feel as though like anything like having to do with social media, giving people the freedom to speak, post, whatever they want, it's going to have a really serious like drawback to the progress that we're making right now.
Yeah.
We need to keep doing it. I tweeted a while ago. I don't remember, but I was like, I think we need to this is radical.
Okay.
I don't agree with it, but I think
Tell us,
that
King.
the rioting and everything else like that needed to continue. That was the only way that was getting airplay on big news outlets. So that way your parents, my parents, and everybody else who watches those still knows those things are still going on.
Yeah.
Because my dad's like, oh, they're still protesting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not being covered.
It's just not being
anymore.
covered. And that makes it feel as though the movement died or anything else like that. So it's up to people to keep signing petitions, keep moving the message by whatever means, keep reposting. I know people are like, oh, well, you're not doing anything. It's like, that actually has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
just sharing information.
And it kind of comes back to our topic on the media.
Exactly.
Right? Like, what kind of role is the media playing in all this?
And Nael gave him an F.
F.
You failed, mainstream media.
Big F.
Big pharma, you failed. Mainstream media failed.
Yes.
So now,
tit show.
so now, really quick, before we start wrapping this up, and getting final thoughts, just tell us a little bit more about Storyship and Insan for Humanity and your photography business. Just let us know, where the people can find you. What are the updates that you got coming for both of those organizations? What is the impact that it's having on the community? And then we'll get into our
And where
thoughts.
can we donate? If we can donate.
Let the man talk about himself first. Get out that free press.
I think Rod put it in a nice way. I'm a jack of all trades. So I professionally I do like creative consulting, and then as a person of color, it's really hard to kind of break out in this space. Right? You don't get a whole lot of support sometimes from home, and especially on the career end. So I try to create a safe space in a community org to bring creators together who can help each other through mentoring and stuff like that to boost themselves.
Okay.
So that's Storyship, and then right now we're not really having any events, but Insan, that's my project in Pomona, where we work with the elderly, homeless, and children, our underserved neighbors, right? I like to say. So we right now, with especially with COVID and everything, people are hurting right now. So we're trying to do what we can. So we're pretty much out there every weekend, trying to feed people and provide different services. So that, if you want to help us out, you can Venmo us at Insan 4 Humanity.
All right,
We love to see this.
Yeah.
We love to see this.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, Insan 4?
Number 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Shoot them a Venmo. They're doing some really great stuff for the LA community. And
Thank you.
Now, so we're gonna go around and we're gonna wrap up everyone's thoughts. We can start off with you on what Alif touched on, like places that you can donate, how people can get more involved, media outlets that they should be listening to, watching to learn more about these protests that are continuing to happen?
Start local. Number one thing, start local. Figure out who are some key players in your local area in regards to like community organizing, in regards to also like who are some of your local journalists, right?
Mhm.
Who's telling the story of your area? Like start there, figure out who those people are, and then who are they communicating to, right? Above that, on a national level, on a global level,
Mhm.
right? So you can kind of work up the chain that way to figure out like, hey, what is a reliable source? Who is a reliable source? And
Mhm.
what are some orgs that are doing good work?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Facts, respect. Chibs, wrapping up on the topic, your thoughts, places you should donate to, give them your Venmo
Um,
link.
yeah, I mean, I can't. I mean, I don't have two organizations I'm heading like a
Yeah.
man over here, But like, I will say in general, it's like I have been trying to keep up with like readings. So I think I've been hearing a lot of like from friends and from other podcasts and like in like websites, The Color of Law. No,
Mhm.
it's a book that pretty much describes how different policies have long-term effects throughout the years for like Black people. And so, yeah, so just do like get educated,
Mhm.
stay woke.
Mhm.
I think I've been hearing it's a great book, so I will probably try to get my hands on it. I'll let y'all know how it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Alif.
Me, I just try to have hard discussions with people.
Mhm.
That's
I really do try, especially at work. I mean, keeping the politics out of it, but obviously, but like you're just having hard discussions about race
Mhm.
and color
Mhm.
and ideas and beliefs. So,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and in terms of shoot, like Chips kind of said it. Uh, oh man, the thought just escaped me.
It's all good.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
next.
Speaks.
I think kind of just like Elise said, make sure that you're having these conversations. It's not enough to just kind of be quote unquote not racist and accepting everybody.
Mhm.
You have to be able to willing to, cut ties with people, call them out for what it's not right. If you get a little sense in your stomach like, oh, this doesn't feel right, like what the heck, call
Mhm.
them out on it. Now's
Yeah.
the time more than ever. We need you. People of color definitely need you. All play a part in this. And like Chipsy said, just stay educated. Don't
Yeah.
stop reading.
Yeah. Okay. Facts. T.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone said so far, but I think it's also important to ask questions if you're not sure. Like
Mhm.
don't be afraid to ask questions and get educated.
You don't know, T? Racist.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't automatically assume someone's like racist or prejudiced
Yeah.
just because they don't know or they're not
Mhm.
informed. Like, educate them. Because if you
Exactly.
fucking attack them, then you kind of made them an enemy of your movement or
True.
what you're trying to do.
That's
And it's
facts.
on you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of on you.
Okay.
So,
T.
and
Continue.
don't let people Heisman the topic. Like push it aside. Be like, no, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this.
Yeah. Yeah. Go to your manager. I want to talk about your racism. You're fired. So
Can I
T was
speak to the manager of discrimination?
yeah. So T, was there anything else that you wanted to add about that other than
I
asking
feel like
questions?
we've said some pretty good things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, sir?
I was gonna start off with saying support Black-owned businesses.
Yes.
Sign and share petitions that you see online, but also do your research on the petitions. Don't just sign anything because you may do research on a petition and be like, oh shit, I didn't know this person did this. I kind of want to retract it. But it's important to read and be knowledgeable about anything that you're signing or that you're putting your name to online.
100%.
And then I think
But it's
that
okay to retract,
yeah,
right? Like it's okay to grow.
there you go. And that was
It's okay. It's
another
okay
thing.
to be wrong.
Yes, yes. And that's one thing that everyone has to realize is that it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to not know something like Tia
Yeah.
said. And also, it's also very important to digest all sorts of information, as painful as that may be. Like,
Yes, no, it's true.
it's as much as sometimes I hate it and it infuriates me. Like, I'll watch Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens video, and the whole 30 minutes I'll be pulling my hair out and being like, "What are you saying? Like, this is stupid." But it's important. It's important to just listen to the other side, because then you'll get a larger understanding of really what they're saying and what they're trying to argue,
Where they're
Yeah.
coming
And
from.
where
not-
they're coming from.
Yeah.
And not just that.
Sometimes,
Oh,
sometimes you'll fucking surprise yourself. You're like, oh shit, like actually, I get that.
I mean, sometimes you may, but also sometimes you may understand that what they're arguing for, what they're arguing against, may not even correlate with what you're trying to get across. And that's something that we come across too, like just on social media, because you're not face to face. That
Mhm.
one person can make one point, and one person's point is like on the total opposite end of the spectrum.
But
Yeah.
the roots of your facts are from different places.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's another thing that you have to understand. Like, Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, Trump, whoever, they might share something, but it's always important to do research on what they're saying as well.
Mhm.
You know, it's always good to be
Yeah.
prepared. It's always good to digest new information.
And also, it
You,
gives,
you always gotta make sure that bleach will actually cure coronavirus.
Yeah, drink a gallon of bleach and let's see what happens.
That's how you address. That's how you address polarization.
yes, and also too, it also gives you a good way to decipher good information from bad information.
Yeah.
Getting in that habit, and then also, I think, I don't know if we've said it, but I can't stress this enough. Listen,
Yes.
listening,
Yes.
not getting defensive, just listening.
Yeah, we got to take the emotion out of
Yeah,
like,
because
debates and
that's
arguing.
how things get completely off the rails. Is you get defensive, you get, well, I'm not like,
Yeah.
listen.
Decenter yourself.
Yeah,
Listen.
like just
Yeah.
remove yourself from the conversation. Just
Mhm. Yeah.
talk.
And that kind of tied back to the whole empathy
Mhm.
thing that we were talking about earlier. Is just be empathetic to these issues that are going on.
Mhm.
Even, I mean, I don't think any of us here at the table can say that we've been brutally attacked by the police,
No.
but it doesn't mean that we don't think that it also exists and that it's a problem.
No.
So I think that that's an important conversation to have.
Definitely.
So Niall, thank you again for joining us on the podcast. We appreciate you coming through. That was a great conversation. You shared a lot of new info for us. And anyone out there who's listening, give Niall a follow. Niall, what's your social media feeds?
At Nael River on everything. Nael River.
All right, there you go.
And you can find all my other projects off of that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So shoot him a follow. He's got some great stuff coming up. He should be one of the local representatives that you guys are looking to in these times. So
Mhm.
thank you, Niall, for coming through. We appreciate it, man.
Glad to be with you guys. You guys are too kind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good seeing you, man. And thank you again for all that are listening. We appreciate your support. Continue to hit that subscribe, rate us. 5 out of 5s only. We appreciate you guys.
Yes.
Tell
Thank
your
you for listening.
friends.
Yes, tell your friends. Tell your conservative mother about us.
and if you decide to donate at least $25 to our Patreon, we will enter you into a raffle to go on a date. a
Oh,
virtual
no, we're
date
not doing-
with
I
T.
forgot we were
1v1
still doing
Are we
that.
still doing this?
One on-
Elite
one
boss
on-
is more than T does.
Yes.
one-on-one via Zoom. All right,
Yes.
one-on-one
Zoom.
via Zoom.
Yes.
We'll send the link.
Yes.
Okay.
One-on-one only. So
Yes.
thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.
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 Deuces.